So we continue with Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 40th chapter. And here Krishna actually starts speaking to Sudama. 10:80-28 Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Api Brahman Gurukulad Bhavata Labda Dakshinat Samavruttena Dharmagya Bharyodha Sadrushinava. So generally speaking, whenever there is a meeting with an old friend, so what do we talk about? One thing we may talk about is the present. Okay, how are you situated right now? Then, so present situation. Then we may talk about our past memories. So Krishna and Arjuna are sitting close to, Krishna and Sudama are sitting close to each other. And when they are sitting like this, with hands held together, as was mentioned earlier, and they are going to discuss about the past, but it starts from the present. How are you right now? So the first three verses here are about the present. So in some ways, what Krishna is going to ask is, within the, even how somebody asks the question, what is the dharma, that indicates their worldview. So what we want to know, the welfare of others. But welfare, what is the well-being or the welfare? What is the well-being of others also depends to a large extent on our idea of what the welfare is or what the worldview is. So if the worldview is materialistic, then the well-being would involve, do you have enough money? So well-being is largely determined by the worldview. And Krishna and Arjuna and Sudama, both of them have gained us somewhat spiritual worldview by their, at least a dharmic worldview. They both have it innately. Krishna is of course the Lord, but it's also, they have been the Gurukul. And so they have more or less a broad shared value system. Even the deepest friendships happen not based on whether you can give pleasure to each other. Shared value system is actually dharma. So when there is friendship among people, there can be various levels of friendship. Friendship could be because at the most basic level is there is gain. A businessman and a client may become friendly because both are trying to gain from that relationship something. Now, so gain is with something else, And now just pleasure in the friendship. I like being in your company. That's nice. But what is the best is if there are values and purposes that are shared. So because sometimes if gain is the purpose, what happens when we don't gain anything from the relation? The relationship ends. If there is pleasure is the purpose, I like your company. But what happens? We change, people change, our moods change. Now I don't like your company, then we may give up. So we could say the best is where we have some values and purposes together. Then even if lives have ups and downs. So here we are talking about external gain. So then that keeps us together. So Krishna and Sudama share a value system. So Api Brahman Gurukulad. If is it, O Brahmana, after the Gurukulad, Bhavata Labda Dakshinat. Did you gain after you give the proper Dakshina to the Guru? Samavruttena Dharmagya. That when you return back home, O Dharmagya, a knower of the Dharma. So it's interesting, he's referring to him as a Dharmagya. He knows that Krishna knows that this person is a Brahmana and is a wise person. Dharmagya Bharyodha Sadrushinava. Bharya, did you get a Bharya? Did you in marriage? Sadrushi, a similar one. So Krishna has himself become a Grihastha. He is married. So now he's asking for a suitable wife. So what sometimes we call nowadays as a compatible person, match has to be compatible. So Sadrushi is actually compatible, suitable. So suitable traditionally would refer to the same varna, but same varna in marriage within the caste, that was important, but more or less that was the best predictor of similar swabhava. Again, swabhava here is similar value system. So, so it is not just like blind rigidity that people have to marry within the same caste. The idea was that in the past society was much more structured. So within structured society, structured means people had their own ways of living which were different for different groups of people, but overall each group of people had their structured way of living. Brahmanas lived in a particular way, Kshatriyas lived in a particular way. That means same varna would live similarly, and there would be more or less similar upbringing, similar culture, similar value system for people within the same varna. There will be similar parenting styles, more or less, broadly speaking. So Brahmanas would grow up learning to value simplicity. They would not grow up expecting prosperity. And then similar upbringing would lead to eventually the match being suitable or compatible. There's no guarantee about this in the world, that matches will always be compatible, but this was a fair guarantor. So a suitable wife refers to one who broadly shares the same value system. How are the children to be raised? Do we want to have children? How do we want to educate the children? What kind of house should we have? These are important decisions, and if there is a disagreement over the very fundamentals of life, then it becomes difficult for the relationship to sustain. So Krishna is asking that, did you get married, and did you do you have a suitable wife? Prayo gruheshu te chittam akama vihitam tatha naivati priyase vidvan dhaneshu viditam hi me. So although you are living in Grihastha ashram, for the most part akama vihitam tatha, but mostly you are not interested, you don't have lots of materialistic desires. Akama vihitam, that you are not influenced by kama. Naivati priyase vidvan, and in general ati priyase, you don't find it very dear, not very attracted to. Dhaneshu viditam hi me, that you are not very much interested in the pursuit of material wealth. So Krishna is telling over here that although you live in Grihastha life, so we can differentiate here between there is material life and there is materialistic life. Somebody might be living in material life, but they don't have to live in materialistic life. Materialistic life is where one is constantly caught in pursuing material things. So material life is basically, we have functional needs and they have to be taken care of. But beyond functional needs, there are mental cravings. And those mental cravings for material enjoyment, they become the driving and defining influence of people's lives. And that is unhealthy. That will distract them from the ultimate purpose of life. That will distract them from eventually achieving meaningful things in life. So material enjoyment. So what is happening over here is, he is observing and appreciating Krishna, that although you will live in Grihastha life, you You are not. So Krishna is talking about two things: internal and external, both. Internally, he is saying that you are unaffected by material desires, and externally, you do not pursue it also. You do not find it very dear. So you are internally unattached, and externally you are unoccupied. Sometimes we see somebody is preoccupied. So unoccupied is not unemployed, unattached to material gain. So this is an appreciation from Krishna. And while the appreciation is well intended, this could even for any other person have created as a stumbling block. How can I ask my friend for money if he is saying that, oh, I am not interested in money, and that's what, if they find that that is the purpose that I have come for. So sometimes what is spoken in a good intention, appreciation can itself become a cause of embarrassment for someone. That, oh, how can I speak this? Somebody glorifies some friend, oh, you are so detached, oh, but actually I need money. Yes. Oh, you turn out to be the exact opposite of what I thought you would be. So appreciation can become the cause of embarrassment. Now, that is not what is happening over here, but because it's not happening to Sudama, because he never came with the aim of material prosperity. He has come just to Krishna darshanam, that will be bhagyam. And Krishna goes on to talk about from this specific glorification to a general principle. So you are like this, and this is going on to say that this is how one should be. Specific glorification can be one of one person, and then there is a universal principle demonstrated through that specific glorification. So that's what is going on over here. केचित् कुर्वन्ति कर्माणि कामैरहत चेतसः त्यजन्तः प्रकृतिर्दैवैर् यथाहं लोकसंग्रहम्. So some people, it's not everyone, kurvanti karmani. So most people are materialistic. There are few people, they are special and rare. Krishna is appreciating them indirectly by mentioning them. Kurvanti karmani, they do their activities. Kamairahata chetasa. But their chetasa, their consciousness is not afflicted, abducted. Bhogaishwarya pasaktanam taya apaharita chetasam. That doesn't happen. Tajantah prakritir daivir. So they have given up the Maya Prakriti. Yathaham loka sangraham. And it's interesting, Krishna is giving a example that, like me, so I am engaged here only for loka sangraham, for maintaining the world by setting an example of how to function. So they do their duties for two purposes. Loka sangraha, generally it means maintaining the world maintaining. But it is also for a world, how do we maintain the world? Everybody does their duties properly. World being given an example, how to be committed, how to be dedicated. Krishna doesn't have to do any duty, but Krishna does his duties. And as he shows, this is how we should be doing. Because while people who are detached don't need to do their duties, but people who are attached, it is only by doing their duties and not being carried away by their attachments and just engaging in materialistic activities, it is only by that they will be purified. So we discussed two main things over here in today's session. The first was that the basics for relationship. It was not just caste, whether it was marriage. This is for relationship was not just caste. It is a shared value system. So when Krishna is speaking to Sudama also, that shared value system is coming up implicitly, and he's talking about suitable wife, that is coming up further. And the second point we discussed is about how material life is not the same as materialistic life. And Sudama is in material life, but he is not in materialistic life. And Krishna is saying Yathaham Loka Sangraha, means he is saying I am also living like this. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.